Welcome back. Hear ye, ladies of Nigerian. There has been a gradual, a serious increase in the price of cooking gas in our country. The 12.5 kg cylinder of cooking gas that used to be 3,000. Me, at least this year I bought it 3,005. This year, January, is now 10,000 naira. In some parts of our country. Many households have reverted to cooking with firewood, charcoal, kerosene, and others because of, and we are really scared of the environmental issues as a result of this. Now, join us on the show is the national president, the Oga Patapata himself, of the Nigerian Association of Liquefied Petroleum Gas Marketers, Mr. Oladapo Olatunbosun. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
First of all,
we're going to hold the shokoto.
In fact, it's even your heart that we are holding. Because I just called my gas man, and he's telling me that in my own area here, it's 8,200. I know I still bought it from him about 6,000 naira or even 5,000 a few months back. So, and I know in some certain parts of Lekki, it's probably 10,000. Yes. Certain part of the east is 10,000. Why are we having this increase in gas?
Thank you, Morayo. This is a very hot topic that concerns all Nigeria, because every human being, old, young, or middle age, you must eat to survive. And 90% of food processed in Nigeria involve eating, not even Nigeria, all over the world, you eat. And the only way to eat your food, and very healthy way, is to use cooking gas. So cooking gas is a common and essential product to every household. And if it's an essential, it must be affordable, it must be available for somebody to know is living well. If we are cooking in a mix that is different from using cooking gas, it actually is a substandard living system, that the lifestyle is substandard. So for Nigerians to have a standard lifestyle, they should be able to cook in a very environmental friendly way, economical way, and a convenient and healthy way. Yeah. And that is what we are losing now. And it should be our concern that as a human being, how do we elongate our lifespan? How do we elongate our value of being a citizen, of being a country? So I'm worried too. Because, like rightly said, last year or this year, if I buy a bija, that is 20 metric tons of LPG, it's about 3.8 million. Today, to buy, I need about 12 million naira. That is 3 or 4 times of that money I used to buy. Where is the capital? So it costs across the board. And the genesis of this problem, let's just go and look into it. We were not like this before. Gas was available, and there's no scarcity of gas worldwide. But the problem is, at a point in time, the government was thinking of domesticating supply. Yes. How do they mean? So that we will not be taking our hard-hand foreign exchange to other countries to buy gas. Because right now, 70% to 65% of gas we use in Nigeria are being imported to this country. Importation is done from Algeria, importation is done from America, importation is done from other neighboring African countries to supplement our need. Before now, what we used to do is that the demand for gas was very low because the awareness was not there. Yes. You will agree with me that those days when you want to rent a house, the landlord will ask you, hope you are not using gas here. Yes. But after a lot of campaign from investors, from practitioners, people start embracing it. Yeah. And gas becoming a common thing. Even villagers, as they come to city, they buy in their cylinder, take it there and cook. Everybody was quite nice. So with the population we have in this country, we have about 240 million. Right. Which is supposed to be a very good market and good asset for us. And when we have about 15% of that population adopting gas, it's a huge number, then the population and the usage now has gone beyond the facility we have locally. And the facility we have locally has to do with infrastructure, of the exploration and processing of this gas. Yes. What we were doing before, and we are investing on some storage, we have terminals coming up. But how many explorating companies are really coming up? So when we now see that usage and people have been using gas, government are looking at these people are important money. This is another source of revenue, number one. Then the foreign exchange demand for this is high. Let me quickly ask a follow-up question, because we know that only NLNG currently does. But can we have, why come we don't have a private sector also supporting as we've been in power? Thank you. I'm coming to that. So let me land my story so I can link it with NLNG. So you have the background and we can know what's the impact and what the solution. So the impression was that the demand is going high. and there's a lot of foreign exchange capital flight taken out of this country to buy gas. So governments were thinking about, let's domesticate. But before you can domesticate, you must be able to have sufficient supply locally.
Yes.
We've not gotten to that. Don't forget, the 4 of our refineries are not working.
Right.
If they are working, they will produce LPG, which will have met some requirements. NLG is the only one producing the largest gas available locally now. They are producing about, say, 30% of what they do. They have capacity to produce up 450. In most cases, they don't even produce up to that 450. They just increase it now. So what's available for energy is about 330, 350 1,000 metric tons. Yes. Meanwhile, the total demand as of today is about 1,250,000. So there's a gap. There are local small companies that are producing, but the capacity is so low. And invariably, you need to import to supplement it. And that is the problem. So now when government say, okay, I want to domesticate, if refinery, before the refinery has been working, they will produce, they will have to NLG. Originally, NLG is supposed not to meet local markets. It's supposed to be a foreign exchange earner for the country because it's an investment on its own, owned by government and some other shareholders. And the targets that we produce all this gas, there are a lot of which demand overseas that will supplement our foreign exchange earning in the country and to improve our naira. But because we have deficiency here, NLG has to make all their butane available for local. Still, it's not sufficient. And don't forget, NLG is also about 30 years old in business. That means the infrastructure is also reducing the well. How well are they maintained? So what they are doing now is to construct another train called Train 7. Exploration is capital intensive and takes a long time to complete. Train 7 will be completed in about 5 years' time. The population that is growing is not stopping. Demand for gas is increasing. Then there's a huge gap. So now come here and say, yes, I want to produce fee, I want to stop bringing it. There's going to be a kiosk. And that's what we are saying. So we've not gotten to the end of it. The prices are still going up. Currently now, most of storage facilities are dry. There are no gas there. People are not loading at terminal now because importation has stopped and the gas available is not sufficient.
No, but I don't understand the over 300% rise in price because if I understand...
And importing now, the dollar.
No, dollar has not risen by over 300%. So, like, is it that, I know that, is it so free market that there is no form of government regulation in how the prices change? Because
subsidy,
I'm not saying subsidy. I'm saying that there must be a policy that creates the framework of how much is the cost of LPG coming into Nigeria, how much is the
transportation, how
much is the reasonable price and transportation you can put on it. You cannot just, you can't buy gas for 3.5 and then it goes to 8.5 in the same year. No government should allow that kind of spike to happen by regulation. I
understand your angle, but that's a very good angle to look at it. But let me explain what really happened. All the gas are being imported. The local ones there, and that's where role of middlemen come in. And the price template they are using is template of imported gas. Don't forget that foreign exchange wasn't. We were 160, at the time we were 300, now we're on 500 something. These people do not have access to official rates at the CBN. They need to settle the counterpart, and there's a time lag they can wait for, and they need to go and look for money from other sources. So they use their template of parallel market to determine the price. That one takes it up. And other charges now involved. And that is middlemen. Because when there's scarcity, anywhere there's insufficient supply, people catch on it. So there's a scarcity and middlemen, they are in business. They also want to take advantage. It is a price-regulated market. It wasn't as bad as this before. That's why the price was regulated and things were when there's availability. Where there's no availability, there's insufficient supply, then things like this will happen.
Okay, let me pause you for a second because I have a call that I need to take. We have Mr. Farinloye Ibrahim, coordinator NEMA, back on the phone. Mr. Ibrahim, you have an update on the massive leakage in Ikeja?
Yes, it has been brought under control.
Okay.
And we are urging people to go about their business.
Okay.
However, the traffic, where traffic was diverted, we are still maintaining it until repair work is completed on the pipeline.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Those who want to do anything can go ahead. Only traffic will be affected later.
Okay. Thank you very much. It's good to know that it's under control. So there was a gas leakage earlier, and I'm so happy that's under control.
So I wanted to say that I know that we have the natural gas. And one of the problems I've heard you highlight now is that we do not have the infrastructure to domesticate yet. And that is what is causing all of this artificial scarcity, so to speak.
Yeah.
But how do you think that the private investors can come in, take advantage of this opportunity so that we can have gas at cheap rates?
The private investors are trying to come in.
Okay.
Now we have sufficient storage facility. All the terminals are storage facility. Now the exploration is another key. Exploration is capital intensive and takes time.
Yes.
Already has just been completed. Still, the capacity, the production they are doing is not very sufficient. Don't forget, I said we have 240 million people in Nigeria,
yes.
and this is essential that every house will demand. So the requirement is increasing on daily basis. Nigeria has capacity to do 5 million metric tons per annum. We are just doing 1,250, and still we cannot produce enough. Yeah. So it takes time for this one to come in, and for investor to come. What they must be guaranteed is that market is there. And what do you mean by market? Capacity to buy.
But we have.
The market is there, but the capital...
You have number, but the capacity to buy is not there.
Yeah.
Now the price has gotten to 10,000. A lot of people have abandoned
yes.
gas.
Yes.
When they abandon because their per capita income is low. Average income in Nigeria is about 30,000, 50,000. If you have 50,000 naira as a take-home in a month, but can you budget 10,000 for
which
gas?
is what the power guys also had. So we have the numbers. Oh, 200 million, 200 million. But capacity to pay for your NEPA bill is a whole different ballgame.
Well, that's exactly the problem. We have number, but the per capita income is ridiculously low. When you are trying to price things in line with international price, the dollar, they are doing this in India. This is how much they are selling for. This is how much they are selling there. Go and compare that take-home to Nigeria. And when you now compare Nigerian take-home to dollar, you know it's peanuts.
Baro, can we just convert the subsidy that they are still paying for cars that are voluntary to things that people need to survive? Because people must eat. The convenience of cooking with gas now, people will switch to charcoal. Before you know it, the same charcoal that is convenient for every poor man, just as they did kerosene, will begin to go up. Can we just be reasonable per level and policies and make sure that we're taking care of the masses?
I'm trying to get your solution. What
remove subsidy from petrol immediately.
Yes, yes.
As a matter of emergency.
And then NLC will carry
subsidize gas.
NLC will carry gas.
Subsidize gas.
That won't solve the problem.
Okay,
but the solution is
just
this.
a suggestion.
Because if you move from one Uganda, I'm not here for you. Let's talk about subsidy problem. Let's talk about gas. What we can do to solve the problem, number one, it's only two human beings that can solve this problem. The Minister for Petroleum and Mr. President.
Both are one now.
Yes. The minister needs to recommend to the president. I have issue like this. This is a national issue. It can affect all Nigerians. And, sir, I need your approval to do this. Let's suspend all charges.
Suspend all charges.
Okay, let's suspend all charges on importation, so that importation can come in the way it used to come in. To meet our needs. Let us see, can we make forest exchange available for these people? I know we don't have unlimited forest in Nigeria. Yes. And the demand for forest is quite high. But there must be a way to prioritize it and see how we can pay for some sectors.
I want to understand the charges. Because you just mentioned the charges used to be. So what are the charges?
Now, the federal government reintroduced VAT or imported gas. Yes. I've been issued there was no VAT on them, but they wrote them, the government agency wrote to all the importers. I said the product you are selling is subject to VAT, and from 2019 you are supposed to pay. So what they do is to make provision for it. They paid in
retrospect?
No, they've not paid, but they have to go to cost template and adjust their cost template because it becomes a contingent liability on them. Anytime they knock on their door, if they don't pay, they go bankrupt. So they have to factor that into cost. Yes. The same thing to import duty, custom. As I'm speaking, custom is on some of them, on their neck. So your issue is the VATs are too high. But would that solve the problem? Not too high. VAT should be dropped. When VAT is dropped, when duties are dropped, then the other area is has to be government supervision. So that the middlemen will not catch on it. And that is where moral intervention now comes in. It's not regulating the price, but just a moral social. Everybody, when you are on check and you know somebody watching you, you sit right. But now it's a free-for-all. Nobody's checking. People are catching advantage.
Thank you for making it clear.
I'll come to you. Let me take Perpetual. I'll come to Sokwe. Good morning, Perpetual. Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, very clearly. Go ahead, please.
Okay. I have a few questions for your guest because I cannot place what he's saying. You know, the reason is that now I would like to know. But why is gas so unaffordable he has not really addressed that point. He's just digressing and digressing. It doesn't make any sense. So why is it? There was a time in this same Lagos and in this same Nigeria that I bought cooking gas for 3,600 or so, but right now it's about 9,000 plus in my area. So Augusta, I'm not saying what you're saying doesn't make sense, but please, can you address why gas is so unaffordable?
Okay. Thank you, Perpetua. Let me try to explain what I heard. Maybe you didn't hear, but this is what he said. And please correct me if I'm wrong.
Right.
Our population has obviously increased. Everybody now is using cooking gas. Tell we used to have using coal here, using charcoal, kerosene there. But most people are now using gas. Even the poorest man is carrying the smallest tiny one for his own house. So the demand is higher. He is saying that in Nigeria, we only produce 30% of what we need. We import 70%. Abi?
Correct.
And now, because we're having issues with the importation, because VAT, he's hoping that they remove VAT, it will be easier for the importers to bring in, so it will be more affordable. But right now, it's quite high.
There's import duties also.
They're looking at the import duties and all that, and they're still looking for forex. This is how this is causing the marketers to increase the prices. So what you paid in January cannot be the same you're paying now, because what they're using to import is totally different. So we don't. I mean, that's what he has explained.
Thank you, Mora. You try to explain, but let me come down at a lower level so she can understand me very well. Charges is part of cost. If this VAT is dropped and then duties drop, 1. 2, the benchmark for pricing of gas is based on Mount Bellevue. Mount Bellevue is the international pricing index that they use. And worldwide, because of this hurricane, erosion, and some other things, and if part of COVID, the price of Mount Bellevue went up. So worldwide price went up. And we normally use Mount Bellevue price because we import. Company that supplies us Nigeria is an international company. They price their product based on international price, and that is NLG. NLG price is based on Mount Bellevue price, and the Mount Bellevue price went up. When Mount Bellevue price was low, we were enjoying it. The price was low, so that accounted for it. Then the highest cost is the exchange rate. Our exchange rate went from 300 to 500 or something, and these people do not have access to it through the official window. They need to go through the parallel market, and that's 570. By the time you convert that one, add it to the cost template will go up.
So government came and said it was deficit in facility where to keep the gas that is making it expensive. That was what they responded in the papers. You said that there were facilities, there were depots that are dry.
What I'm saying that there are facilities at different stages. We have storage facility. And those are the terminals that are storage facility. The explorating facility is also an important thing. We have about 3 companies that are actually producing gas in Nigeria. NLG, Oredo, and Kwale. Those are producing. But what they are producing, we had it together, is not enough to meet the local need. So we now block window for supplementary one, that is the export and import. That blockage of that one is causing the problem we are having now. And that is leading to that scarcity and hike in price. So I think the most important is let's talk about the impact of this and the solution to it. That is the most. It had happened, the price has gone up. Everybody is feeling it. Even we as a person are not enjoying it. The cost of doing the business has gone up. If you buy a product today, before you finish selling it, the price has gone. You now see the total proceeds, sales proceeds. It's not even enough to go about it. You need to go and source capital. You can't continue like that.
Let me take this call from Yinka. Yinka, are you there? Good morning, Yinka, are you there? Okay, please jump in here.
So I wanted to ask about the West Africa gas pipeline, that I believe was supposed to supply gas from Nigeria to other countries. Is it that is it still functional? Because we complain about power and yet we're also still supplying power. Are we still in that space where we have gas, we don't have enough, but we're still supplying because we've signed contracts to supply people? That's one. Number 2, whatever government policies come up, there's always the case of what your viewers tagged with the people, where we circumvent the law. So they provide incentives for, as you have requested, they drop the duties and increase access to dollar at the official window. And suddenly Nigerians will take the official rate and go and buy what is not what they recommended it for and abuse the system. So what are the ways we can avoid abuse? How can we, you are in the system, ensure that there is a closing of all the gaps that usually exist in order to maximize the impact that the government wants for the average Nigerian? And also, can you tell us about what's the update on the West African gas?
The update on West African pipeline, there are gases. So basically, we are talking about cooking gas. There are not what we call natural gas, and there's CNG. Okay, the one they use for power and the one they use to power the generator and generating power, that's CNG, different from cooking gas. Cooking gas is propane and butane. Because we are in this part of the world, butane is more accessible here, and that is what NLNG produces. NLNG produces other gases, which they export to the other country, all other natural gases for other purposes. So, and that is available. That is to the demand. We don't have problem with that. People still have that in well, but it's the cooking gas that we are actually having issue with.
Butane.
Yes, so that the gas is butane. So we don't have problem with that arrangement. It's still on. They are supplying those gas. I mean, I don't think there's any problem from that side. We don't use those in a large quantity as such, and people that are using it are not complaining. It's still available, but the price might have also gone up.
Which one do we flare? Is it the butane?
You see, in the process, when you flare gas, you flare butane and propane into it together. You can separate and take out. Okay, and we are trying to say we stop flying. When you stop flying, we get all this one conserved and be used for some other thing. Even CNG is part of it. So the types of process. I don't want to go into the technicalities. I'm not an engineer, but my knowledge in the business, I know what it is. So it's a lot of process that it involves. And what we actually need for home to live is the cooking gas.
Can I ask you a question? Are you an importer?
I don't know import. I'm a distributor. What do you mean by distributor? I'm a plant owner. So in the value chain, what we do, we supply. Just call your customer now. So I have gas plants. Right. My members all have gas plants all over the country.
Right. May I quickly ask?
You didn't answer the block, how to reduce checkmating the system to ensure that
abuse tends to happen in everything we do, not in Nigeria, everywhere, but it's the regulatory agents. There are agents that are shadowed with responsibility to avoid this abuse. If there's no compromise, if everybody does his rule, then the abuse will be minimized. All we need to do is to know that somebody is there checking me. We say that Nigeria is very easy to govern. Show a sample. When there's an abuse, let there be discipline. Then people see that.
So I wanted to ask if you people are seeing any measure to stop that flaring so that we can conserve gas. Is there any measure from the government to ensure that the flaring stops, especially in those companies in Bonny and...
there are regulations to do that. And it has to do with infrastructure, and I think government is working on that.
We don't have enough infrastructure to cover, so we don't have enough.
So also, you know, in your analogy, you mentioned that the Minister of Petroleum needs to speak to the President on the issues and solutions. The Minister of Petroleum is the President. So who is speaking to who now? Who else would speak to?
We have a
Minister for State. So we still report to the President. And it's the first. He's been doing wonderfully well for gas because he declared decade of gas. They are putting some things in place to enhance. But the latest happening now is frustrating all those moves. So the latest happening is frustrating all those moves. The objective of government is to make gas available. That is why
let me be sure I understand your solution. So right now, if we put VAT on hold, all the other charges on hold, so that we have proper waiver and then the importers can bring in enough. Now, that might reduce it a bit because we're still using the international index benchmark for payment, the model, the pricing model. So it might come down, but not totally.
God bless you, that is it.
My question is that, must we use that international model? Is that the only way? Is that the only option? Because we have it locally. Can't we just find a way to do
create a local pricing model? But would it work?
Is asking for $100 billion. Climate change conference to help us to do
one of the resolutions at Glasgow is that deforestation will stop by 2030 worldwide. So if you want to stop deforestation 2030, we must improve on our gas available. Then we need to attract investors to come on exploration. And for investors to come on exploration, they must be sure the market is there. Market here is purchasing power. Because gas cannot be adulterated. If gas can be adulterated, you will have the same substandard. The one that is affordable. They're like all the products, they produce what is affordable to Nigerians. They tell you this who cannot, it's African, they can't buy this, but gas cannot be adulterated. If you do that, you are playing with fire. So the standard must maintain, and you must be able to pay that price.
But the problem with the investors is that it takes a long time It's very capital intensive. Yes. But let's just say 20% have purchasing power. Is that enough numbers to get an investor to?
It's not. That is why we have to continue with imports. For now. But the ultimate destination is for us to produce locally. But for now, we still have to depend on importation.
Well, are you saying modular refineries for these things? Can't talk about just start a company and say, okay, I want to start small modular scale refineries that you can use and encourage?
They are coming up. They are not, okay, we have 4 refineries. The 4 refineries are not working. We are expecting Dangote to come on board. When Dangote comes on board, even the gas that is going to produce, the kind of opportunity, the kind of advantage, usage things, options available for him, is more than making for gas. He can use it to do for fertilizer. He can use to generate power. At the end, you find that the quantity of gas, if at all, they're going to be available, you may not solve the problem.
And then the pricing system will be that same.
The way Christians are waiting for Jesus Christ to come, Nigerians are waiting for Dangote.
You know, our government is trying to get funds. So if we take away the VAT and those charges, how would they now make money?
All these ones are long-term solution. Long-term solution to ensure that we have gas and we don't come perpetually depending on foreigners. Let me take you back. Years back, we were importing gas from Niger and Benin. Even before this embracement, before people adopting gas, we were importing from Niger and Benin Republic. But the question, the short-term measure now, let there be gas available while we are planning on the long term. When gas is available, people can afford it. The investor will come, they will invest on exploration.
Right.
A lot of companies have gotten license for exploration. I don't want to mention any name. That takes about 5, even 27 takes about 7 years, 5 years to complete. So in about 5-7 years' time, we must be able to produce enough gas. Then we can now say bye-bye to importation. But now, we have not...
Let me quickly come to Sonima.
They are pumping this gas into barges and taking it abroad to sell. You need to respond to that. Also, Bobby Rowland says you're a distributor, and that's why you're saying they should remove VAT. That would only improve their profitability and not reduce the price for the common man.
I don't know. Distributor, I'm a value chain, the distribution is value chain. I'm a plant owner. And all my members all over the world, all over Nigeria, are plant owners. Different from distributor. Distributor buys from us and they resell.
Even as a plant owner.
But we play a significant role in the distribution chain. Okay.
So how beneficial is the VAT?
Hey, can we not look at the beneficial to him and the beneficial to the
Nigerian?
I'm just saying that it's easy to say, oh, you want to benefit from this project. But the truth is that if we take the idea of some people stop VAT, let more people get it. Maybe we stop thinking that
it's actually not directly to him. It's direct. The benefit is directly to the importers.
Yeah.
The importers will be able to have enough. Their cash flow will bring in more products.
The impact of that VAT and reduce is not the incident of impact is not on me. It's on the last consumer. Because we pass the cost across.
Eventually.
That is why the price has gone to 10 million, 10,000 naira per 12.5 kg. In some other areas, there are 12,000. They pass the cost. Because they pass the cost. No. We have that. Something that's not sufficient. Why do you take up?
Wait now. I want to warm my food now. If I use microwave, that's it. Ikeja disco will charge me. If I use gas, they say it's 10,000. Make a cook the food cold.
If you cook beans of this size, then you use about 850 naira to cook it. That's price per kg, about 1 kg to cook beans. And what is the value of the beans you are cooking?
We're not even cooking beans again.
Beans down 1 plate is 4-5 now. I didn't find it funny.
Just put it under the sun, make it dry.
So the most important thing is that, yes, there must be improvements. Things must change. And that is why we are all crying out to governments. And government is the only one that can save Nigerians. Let's see what it
Government should stop acting like they're helpless, though, since they know they can do import waiver as they did for certain products, fertilizers, and that to make life easy for the common man.
Sometimes we need to listen to ourselves. Like every single day we sit here, government should do this one, that one. You see, I hear you. We are right, but how overwhelmed are they really? Do they even have the capacity to do this? We're asking. Like, there's so many that that's 360 things. We're talking about safety right now. Building collapse, insecurity, kidnapping, everything is there.
Easy like the head that wears the crown. You have to carry the crown.
Healthcare, they're there.
Yeah. Pick a job that you can do and do it. Don't carry the one you cannot do.
It's all about planning.
Yeah, pick a job.
It's all about planning.
We call it project management. Tom Adegowa says Dangote is Nigeria's government. Nigerian government is Dangote. Lola Amos Adegbola says the majority will soon go back to the use of kerosene because gas is untouchable again. Vincent Godwin said, Dangote to come on board. When will that happen? Muiwa Ige says, the problem is we are relying on international models that is not working in our locality.
William says, cooking gas is liquefied natural gas. Crude oil has association gas when it is explored and drilled. What is the joint venture companies such as Shell, Exxon, Chevron? They all have a hand in this. What are they doing?
Oladipo says, Dangote see they find money. He know they for charity. Frederick Chinyere says, it's clear some people still benefit from the way Nigeria is. By the time the consequences of all this begin to manifest heavily, English will be hard to speak. Daisy O says we should stop depending on foreigners, but to provide for ourselves. We are buying our own gas out here. Andrew says, you were silent. Okay, no, not talking to them.
Lotus says...
We have to wrap up.
Yes, finally. Solution.
Yes.
We are appealing to federal government of Nigeria to come to the aid of this industry, declare emergency in cooking gas so that we can feel it for Nigeria. Let's drop charges. Let's encourage importation for now. It's not going to be forever. And let's also watch the market.
Thank you.
On
that note, we are speaking with the National President of the Nigerian Association of Liquefied Petroleum Gas Marketers, Mr. Oladapo Olatunbosun. So thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome.
That is all we can take on the show today. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.